Alright guys, so welcome back to another video, and in today's video, so I'm going to take the opportunity to explain to you guys the whole experience of me getting the Procharger done. I'm no stranger to modern vehicles, but I've never went to the performance mods because of the same reason. You have to trust all these people with the heart of your car, which is your engine. This video is just to show you, and I'm not dissing nobody, no nothing. This is just my experience, which I think is important because people that are looking forward to get this performance mods should be aware of, you know. So anyway, my experience, I was ready. I went to a consultation. I told him, you know, this is a show car. I'm not racing, I'm not nothing, but yes, eventually, you know, open doors to more upgrades. He said the best way to go is the Procharger, you know, slap that on, it's bolt on, it's easy, you know. I'm like, fine, well, let's do it. I dropped off the car March 19th, and by the 23rd, it was ready. 3 days later, it was ready. But besides this, I was so shocked because I had also told them, you know, I wanted a transmission flush, I wanted a coolant flush, I want all the liquids to be brand new, like I didn't want no problems. I had a small tiny leak on the bottom hose of the engine, and I told him to change that as well. But I went to pick this car up, and he has said that those parts has not got in yet, to come back next week. And as soon as I took the car home, I'm driving in the highway and I'm pressing on the gas, and the gas pedal stopped working. Like I wasn't going nowhere. I kept pressing on the gas mad hard all the way to the floor, and I wasn't going nowhere. It was just rolling from the speed that I was at before. So you know, I got so scared. I drove through the side, on the right hand side of the highway, and it was just rolling. It was about to come to a stop until, you know, it started picking up again. I started feeling the gas move in the car. And I was like, okay, cool. But, you know, I called him. He's like, you know, it's a tuning issue. Don't worry about it. You could drive the car like that. You know, I had some shows to go to. So I'm like, yo, can I drive the car like that? He's like, yeah, you could beat up on it. You could step on it. No problem. Bang. So I'm just waiting for the tuning guy because, you know, I went to a car meet and I'm gunning it down for people to hear it, you know, whatever. And then some guy's like, yo, look at the upper hose. It just sucked. It looks like it's being sucked. The upper hose, every time I stepped on the gas, it just sucked it. You know, like all the way. You know, it's a tube, and it sucked it flat. And I was like, oh shit, you know. And then closer inspection, you know, a couple of things were loose, and I'm like, what the hell? So, anyways, I really didn't feel comfortable driving the car. I just tightened everything correctly. Waited for him to give me a date to go actually, you know, see what's going on. So I actually went April 2nd, and I know all these dates because, you know, I documented everything on Instagram. So that's how come I know the dates. And I took the day off because I'm thinking he's gonna, like, you know, run some tests and everything. All he did was eyeball it, and then the tuner guy was there and he retuned the whole thing. He did what he did, and it was working fine. I didn't feel that in the highway no more, like when I was driving, and that went away. Thank God, because that was scary. You know, you're on the highway and you're driving, and then all of a sudden your gas pedal doesn't work no more. The only problem after that was the annoying idling, the surging at idle, and that's always been there since the beginning, and the tuner never could get it out. I finally got it to dyno on June 24th. So from March 26th to June 24th is when I finally got it to dyno with the tune guy. All in all, before that, on May 27th, I was getting ready to sell that car because it's so frustrating, and it's like, you know, it's so discouraging to continue because now you got to rely on other people for your build. So it's like, damn, I should have never went that route. I should have, you know, whatever. I actually sold the car and I bought me the right-hand drive SEMA. 2 weeks I sort of missed my car, and I'm like, you know what, let me buy it off for you. I bought the car back off of him, and now I got two show cars. So I got my right-hand drive SEMA and my Charger. You know, I said, F it, let me just go through with it. You know, it still needs to get tuned. Hopefully after the tune everything goes well. So anyway, the tune came June 25th. Before I had to get it tuned, remember the transmission flush and the upper hose and bottom hose that I need to change? The installer never got to do that. He was always busy. So basically what I did, I just went to pick up the parts and had my regular mechanic install all that, because we needed to fix all of that before we could tune it again on the dyno. So we did all that fine, perfect. My mechanic installed the changed all the fluids, the upper and bottom hose, perfect. So now I'm ready to dyno. We dyno it. It wasn't good. Antifreeze kept spilling. We got some weird numbers, and supposedly I had a vacuum leak, all that. And the way they make me feel, it was like it was my fault. Like all of this, it was my fault. Like, really, like you should have not given me the car like that. You know what I'm saying? It has to do everything with the install and the tune and everything. But somehow they make you feel like that's it. There's no solution. I'm like, no, listen. Make an appointment with this guy, and I want to go so he could like fix it. So he never really made the appointment. I had to keep calling him to get in there. And when I finally went in there, all he suggested was the catless mid pipes, and he didn't even take a look at to see if I had a vacuum leak or anything, because that was one of the concerns. Then I took it to my personal mechanic out of curiosity, like, yo, can you check for a vacuum leak? And he did, and we found one. It was behind the platinum, like a sensor that screws on the back of the engine. and we fixed it. My mechanic fixed it, and I was happy because now it sounded better, it idled better, I felt a little more power. After that, I went back and I was like, yo, the idling is searching funny, I don't like it, what is it? He's like, that's not normal for sure, but they gotta get to it. So then he was like, it's a tuning issue, and that's what he kept saying. So then the tuner guy was like, he did everything he could, it's not a tuning issue, that this guy had to check the install again or something, but whatever. He was like, you know what, you don't drive it crazy, because we did a test run, and I would try to show him when the car shuts off. Unfortunately, the car didn't shut off when we was test driving it, because it did shut off a couple of times where I'm just driving and all of a sudden I'm ready to make a turn and the car just didn't go nowhere. Almost like I didn't have, like, it just turns off like when you run out of gas. That's how it felt. He just said that everything was gonna be perfect, because since I didn't even drive it all that crazy, it's a show car, and he saw the way I drive. He was like, cool, the car is gonna last you a long time, just drive it the way you drive it and you're good. So I'm like, all right, whatever. At this point, whatever, it's fine. I sort of learned to live with that rough idle, the searching idle, and at that point that was like the only problem, the searching idle. And like every time I go to shows, everybody would just point that out, because they'll be like, yo, why is your car sounding like that? That's a tuning problem. They'll tell me their sense, and I'm like, I don't know. And I don't know how these guys don't know this, that everybody's gonna talk out there about them, because the next question is who did the install and who did the tuning, and I'm just gonna tell them, and they're gonna hear it, and they're gonna, yo, that's not normal, this and that. So anyway, after the car is supposed to be good, because we found my personal mechanic found the vacuum leak, and the catless pipes were installed. I was finding it to dyno it the second time, but the second time I went to my boy's RT Life, helped me out, and we went to one of his guys, and in this event we dynoed my car, and we couldn't get a good dyno run again. The second dyno run was September 14th, and that was it. I was done. I needed a second opinion, So RT Life hooked me up with True Street Performance, and when we went over there, they diagnosed the problem as, my injectors were too big for my setup. Now, I feel like the other shop, they could have figured it out. It just felt like they didn't want to work with me anymore. They just kept brushing me off, or they was just too busy for me. And you might have gone to the same shop and you came out happier than I did. Maybe they liked you better, you know, who knows. But my experience was not good. Through Street Performance, they have their own dyno spot. They have their tuner right working beside them. It's a bigger shop, and you know, they're not gonna hand you your car unless, you know, they test drive it and make sure everything is in good working condition. So, you know, again, I hear from a lot of people that through Street Performance, they not on the inexpensive side. That's okay, because if I would have known about this shop first from the very beginning, I would have went there first, and I would have saved all these months of headaches. My next step was the long tubes and cam. That didn't work out because, you know, 2 broken pistons. The problem is with them, and I don't have the unexpected cost that came out of nowhere, because, you know, I had my budget for the cam and long tube headers, but now I have this built motor cost that came out of nowhere. And in 2 weeks, if I pull the trigger, you know, they'll be done in 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks, that's just not enough time for me to get that money up. You know, I could, but priorities first, guys. Christmas is around the corner, you know, the holidays and all that, so priorities first, guys. So with that being said, you know, I already told you, Jim, to take out the Procharger. I'ma probably just slap on a used low mileage motor and just keep the car stock. Now I still got time. Now I could take my time and think about what to really do. You know, if I decide to sell the car, at least they'll have a new used low mileage motor that the car will become reliable. And you know, sell the Procharger, and if not, go all the way and sell the car, or part out and start a new build. So a lot to think about, but I have the time to think about it. So guys, with everything said, you know, not being content with what you have and not knowing what you have is the fastest way for unhappiness. It's because you're chasing something that you will never be satisfied with. You know how that goes, guys. You know, not with just this, with anything. You know, oh, I'm adding this mod, I'm adding the next mod. Oh, it's just not enough, I'm adding the next mod. And I'm pretty sure, you know, even though I put a stop to this performance mod now, I'm pretty sure it's the same way. Once I reach 400 horsepower, that's not enough. I reach 500 horsepower, that's not enough. I reach 600 horsepower, that's not enough. And you know, being discontent with what you have and not knowing what you have is just the fastest way to unhappiness, guys. You know, from having something that's reliable, fun to drive, you know, now it just either sits at a shop for months at a time and you don't get to enjoy your build. And you just keep building, you know, performance wise or mod wise, you know, it doesn't happen overnight, you know. And now, you know, from having a car that you could like daily drive and have like nice mods to it and looking one of a kind, you know, and now you got a paint job, and now you can't even park it on the street. You got to look for a garage, especially an indoor garage, to keep your everything that you invested in good shape, you know. It's because, you know, we just not content, guys. And then from having one car, now you got to buy a daily driver because that your daily became a show car, and now you don't want nobody to do no dings and nicks and dings, you know, when you park on the street or take it out to a regular day out with your family, where, you know, idiots park next to you, open the door, and bang, there's a ding, you know, and you don't want to park in the street, because obviously, you know, out here in New York City, a lot of people can't drive, unfortunately. So it's hard, guys. It's hard. So again, guys, you know, like not being content with what you have and not realizing what you have, and it's normal for us human beings to just want more and more and more. But once you understand that, you can put a stop to things, you know, and have your priorities straight. So, you know, it's not the last time you're gonna build. It is enjoying the journey, and knowing when to put a stop to certain things. And it's not the end of it all, guys, but sometimes you do have to put an end to things. But guys, with that being said, guys, appreciate what you have. And if you in this building game, in this modding game, trust me, as human beings, we want more and more and more. And it's just the way we reach it and the journey we go through that just gives us more experience and more knowledge to know when enough is enough. Guys, please like and subscribe. See you on the next video. Peace.